Hi guys, it's Erin McGuire with Pure Light Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. So today's video I wanted to talk to you about why do we, some of us, not all of us, but why do some of us have so much chaos in our life? So it's a great question that I've been asked before. And what I've found from my own life and the life of a lot of people that I work with is that if we grew up in a chaotic environment, whether our parent was an addict of some sort, whether our parent had some sort of, mental or emotional disorder going on, if our parent was absent from us or abandoned us on some level, it can create a lot of chaos. When we grow up in a chaotic environment, we tend to start to look for chaos, and if we don't find it, we'll create it in our adult life. And this has been true for me. So as most of you know, I am an ACOA, adult child of an alcoholic. And so there was chaos there. There was, there were needs of mine that did not get met. And so as an adult, I didn't really know anything else. I just knew chaos. I knew chaos and struggle, and that's kind of what I was tapped into. And so that's what I ended up creating in my life. Whether I created it in my relationships, I would find a way to cause a fight or make an issue happen. If I wasn't in a relationship, I'd find a way to make it in my finances. I would be struggling with money or struggling in my business because I was creating chaos there. That was familiar to me. It was familiar to me to be struggling on some level. If I wasn't creating it in my finances or my relationship, I might create it with a friend or, just with trying to decide on too many things and creating different things that way. Or in my current situation, as I'm finding right now, recently, I will still, I don't create it in any really aspect of my life, but what I will do is overcommit myself. So maybe some of you are doing this too, where you're overcommitting. You're a mom and you're trying to be super mom and do all these different things. Or you're a business owner like myself, and I'm, scheduling all these different workshops and doing different things, and planning future events, and I have so many things on my plate. And then it brings up the anxiety feeling because I get overwhelmed and I wonder, how am I going to get it all done? Well, that feeling within, the anxiety feeling, it's familiar to me. The feeling of oh my gosh, I've got so much to do and I'm running around and yada, yada, yada. That's familiar to me. So it's like striking a nerve with that old pattern of how I grew up. It's a synapse in my brain that gets wired and fired in a certain pattern that says this is normal, this is how it's supposed to be. It's almost like your brain can't even show you anything different because the synapses are wired to fire in that same certain pattern that you've always been in. So how do we break that pattern? How do we break the chaos? Well, the first step is to be aware of the pattern, to be aware, oh my gosh, I'm creating chaos in my relationship or in my finances. There I go, creating that chaos again. Recognize the pattern. That's the biggest step in stopping it, is to recognize that you're doing it. And then you might be sitting in the middle of the chaos, so you've got to kind of figure your way out of it. But the first step is to recognize it and to really understand why you're doing it, to not beat yourself up about it because it's something you were taught, it's ingrained within you, and then you've just got to find your way back out of that. So for instance, if it's in the relationship and you started a big fight, maybe you just pause. Once you recognize you're doing it, say to the other person, I'm so sorry, I realize what I'm doing right now, and this is an old pattern for me. I'm kind of triggered in this moment. I just need to go step outside for a moment and while I sort out these feelings, because I realize I'm not coming from a really authentic place. I think if you can say that to somebody, if somebody said that to me when they were, tripping out about something, I would have so much respect for that person. So it's being able to recognize it, and in a relationship setting, to be able to take responsibility for it. The person's going to love you for it, and if they don't, then they're probably not the person you want to be with. If they're helping you create the chaos, well, then that's you've attracted that, because that's familiar too. So it might be time to let that person go from your life. But be aware of where you're creating the chaos, awaken to it, be cognizant of the patterns that you've created, and then find a way out of them. If it's in your finances, then you've got to stop what you're doing and realize that you've made a mess of your finances because it's familiar to you. And then make some steps to get back in line with that. Start paying off your credit cards, whatever the case may be. I mean, I would find whatever ways to create it with my finances in the past. And I've really come a long way from that by recognizing the pattern and pulling myself out. And if it's in your my current situation, which is creating all these different things, for me, it's just stopping and taking some deep breaths and saying, okay, I've just got to get through these next few days because I've scheduled myself and I can't go back on that now. But how am I going to schedule myself in the future with people? And how many more things am I going to take on? And how can I plan things out step by step rather than looking... My problem is I look at the future and then I get overwhelmed because it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many things coming up. It's like, just pull it back to the present moment. What do I have to do right now, today? Let's not create anything else until I do that. And so just be aware of where you get overwhelmed and find a way to stop that and really write out a new way of doing things for yourself. But being aware of it is the most important thing. So where do you create chaos in your life? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below where you're creating chaos. And we don't have to understand, why we did it. We don't have to go back and rehash the past about it. We know why, because it's comfortable. It's comfortable. It's cozy. We love it. But it's not helping us in our adult life at all. It didn't help us in our child life either. But it's really not helping us now. And you can change it. You've just got to change the pattern. And I've seen my clients do it. I know you can too. If you want some personal help with that, or I'm going to be starting a group program here soon, you can find more information out about it below. I'd love to have you join me. For now, leave a comment. Let me know where your life is in chaos and how can we help you. Let's support each other in this. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.